And get rid of those. Launch. Good. Whoa. Keep it under control. You know, I can't help but think that that was one of those situations that you guys had seen it since the time that we've made this ship, and you're like, oh, I really hope he fixes that. And then I didn't fix it. And then you're watching me launch, you're like, oh my gosh, I really hope he sees it. And then I don't see it at all, and then it all just goes wrong, and you just facepalm, and you're like, I couldn't even write a comment worthy enough to describe how I feel right now. I could just imagine that was the case. Oh, it sucks. We were doing so well. You know, at least we're still doing quite well with this. And we know that we can begin our atmospheric turn a bit earlier than we did. So I guess that's, you know, one thing we can take out of this at least, right? It's a thing. Gosh, that just sucks. And get rid of those. Maybe this is more efficient, I don't know. I'm actually curious if we're still gonna have a large fuel tank by the time we actually refuel. In that case, hell, I'll just refuel the large one and just go with it. I mean, why not at that point? It would get us to Duna, or at least it would get us a lot of the way there. The one thing I would be concerned about is the fuel tanks down here that we didn't put any landing gear on, because we just planned to land with this and get back with this, which isn't a problem. It's just, it's gonna be interesting how we take care of this part. Because I was planning for this to be the piece that got us to Duna and into orbit and all that fun stuff, and this wouldn't, but I guess we'll play it by ear. If we have extra tanks, we can get rid of them in the atmosphere of Duna, because we won't need them. And in all reality, that may actually be better too. Strangely enough, because you know, the less fuel we use with these top ones, the better. Because these things are our ride home, our ticket home. And we ideally want to launch ourselves out of Duna's system by using the moon. So hopefully that will all go according to plan. Where are we at on this? Yeah, well, more than enough. So let's begin our horizontal turn. Like that. And in fact, I'm going to cut those. I'm going to get to the apoapsis. And try this again. Which should help us get our... Yep, that's going nice and fast. You know, I'm looking at the fuel. This may be a close one. We may end up burning out the fuel of this big tank. And we may not. So we're just going to have to kind of play it by ear when we get to the refueling station. Because MechJeb's going to do all sorts of re-maneuvering once we actually have a proper orbit here. As you see, we're not necessarily... Well, this is going to go under this line here. So we're going to have to get that dealt with. But that's not actually too huge of a problem. And we will get this to where it needs to be. Which is, you know, over 70,000. That should be fine. Where are we at on fuel? Still got plenty. All right, so here's what we do. We click on this, we set as target, right? And it shows like, okay, that'll be kind of the spot that we're going to be the closest to. But what we're going to do is go to, and like I said, this is the only time I'm going to use the autopilot, docking autopilot. Okay, so, oh, that's not what I want. I want to rendezvous. Rendezvous autopilot. There we go. So, refueling Duna. Yep, that's what we need. Final distance, 100 meters. We could do like, I feel like we could do it like 80. I think that would be fine. So let's engage the autopilot. So what it's going to do is it's going to figure everything out. As you see, this whole thing's moving here. We have the maneuver node over there. It will automatically speed up time when it needs to. And it's doing its weird switcheroo thing. And you're going to see something that I was mentioning a few episodes ago where it's like, it's okay to go over the the node where it says like node in T minus 4 minutes 22 seconds, 21, 20, you know, that kind of thing. It's okay to go over that, as you'll see here, because for whatever reason, these autopilot things almost always do it, but it nails it every time. It's actually pretty impressive, the accuracy that these autopilots are able to do, which is cool. But, you know, in real life, these autopilots need to be programmed to do what they do. So it's one of those, like, give and take things. It may be doing the work on its own, but it had to have been programmed by someone to learn how to do these things in the first place. So it's not like it's completely sentient. You know, we're not dealing with Skynet here. So what that did is it adjusted our plane. So now we're on the same plane as the refueling station. So then it's going to get to here, which is about right, and it will burn. And it should, depending on kind of the distance we are, it should make a larger orbit like this. And then when it gets on this side, it will make it the larger orbit all the way around, and it'll circularize. And then it will wait until the optimum point, and then it will slow itself down to get into the orbit and directly in the same time as the refueling station. So you're watching it do all of its fun stuff, and I said that I would let you watch all of this because it is pretty cool to watch. Like, this is what you would normally have to do, except you have to plan it out pretty much precisely from before. So you need to know like where you'll be when you do these burns in order to get to the part where you'll be able to, you know, get to the refueling station. But at least it gives you some idea of the work that goes into this. And I've done it before on my own without MechJeb, and it took me for freaking ever. So I'm not too into that idea. Okay, so now it's gonna do a burn. Like I said, it's gonna get our orbit all the way out here, which is pretty cool. Because what it wants to do is have a larger orbit than the refueling station. Let's see how much fuel we actually have so I can... Okay, we're doing pretty good. So it wants a larger orbit than the refueling station because that means that we're moving at a different speed so we can catch up to it. Because right now we're behind the refueling station. So if we're further out, we're going to be moving faster. And while we're moving faster, we're going to catch up to the refueling station. Then it's going to slow us down and put us in the same, the same orbit as the refueling station. It's going to match speeds as much as it can. And you do have kind of a short window to get it because it won't do it precisely, you know, every time. Sometimes you'll be within 100 meters of the refueling station forever. Other times it will slowly get out of your reach. So you do have to make your dock fairly quickly. And if you're doing it without MechJeb, that, you know, making that dock fairly quickly is the most important part, because you won't be within that perfect orbit most of the time unless you're really good at this part, which is, it's not easy to do. So now it's going to burn again. Like I said before, it will open up that orbit, so that way we're, you know, orbiting the actual fueling station in a weird way. And then once it's done, which is about now, it will make another maneuver node to try to intercept, but we may do quite a few rotations around the planet before this actually happens. Okay, so maybe not. It's going to be a lot sooner than that because we did launch at a pretty good time to catch up to the refueling station. But that will put us within very, very close of the thing. So I'm okay with that, although that is pretty close. We should be fine. We should be fine. So I'm always a little wary of it doing this, because usually it's a little further out than that. When it's that close, you get a little anxious because you're like, I don't want to run into the things. You do have to kind of pay attention to that. And the autopilot will most of the time not do that, but I have had it happen once on my other game. So I actually am going to quick save just in case that actually does happen. But here comes the node. So now you see it behind us. So what we're going to do is we're going to slow down. And this orbit line right here shows a pretty good path that we'll take to intersect directly on the other side, in fact, of where we're actually at. It's kind of a cool way of doing it. I mean, the whole space thing as far as physics and doing all these maneuvers and stuff really interests me because, you know, I'll never do it in real life, but it is really cool to be able to do it in a game that simulates that. So I'm really happy for that. And it does look like our separation. So while I'm in orbit with it, our separation will be pretty minimal. So I'll have a bit of time to line up that that maneuver that I actually need to do properly. So it's going to get to its maneuver node on the ball, which is what you see it doing now. It will speed up time, and we will come awfully close to this refueling station, which is actually going to be really fun. And we're going to have to turn the lights on that refueling station to be able to see it, unless we're in the sunlight, which we may be. Yeah, we'll have sunlight, so that'll help. It's really difficult when it's kind of dark. I always get a little anxious about that. So let's do this. Where is our target? There's where we're going, and we are catching up to it pretty rapidly. You can actually start seeing it now. And this thing is, you see how it's pointed retrograde? So it's going to burn. It's going to slow us down. Yeah. Actually pretty cool. It looks like we're going to be able to save this fuel tank, which is great. Okay, so this is when it gets a little sketchy. So we're going to have to open the shield. What is it doing now? It is doing its rendezvous. Yeah, we need to be a little closer than 215 meters, so I'm going to let it do its thing. But let's get rid of that. And I need to set this to control from there, and I need to open up one of the fueling docks on there if I have them closed. So I'm going to have to switch between the two. There's a hotkey for that. You just haven't seen it yet. Kind of interesting. Okay, what... oh gosh, how close is it going to put us? I don't want to overshoot it. I don't want to undershoot it. All right, that's pretty good. It's wobbling a bit. Okay, so we're going to disengage that. We are going to... whoop. We need to turn SAS on. We are going to... docking autopilot. Okay, I'm going to switch by hitting the bracket key. I'm going to open up this one. I think I'm going to dock... well, actually, you know what? I should be fine to dock to this one. We're going to open that shield. We're going to go back. Okay, so... I do want to put RCS on. Crap, we're coming up really close. Set as target. Control from here. Autopilot enabled. Okay, barely got it. So we're coming up really fast on this, but as you see, our RCS is working its bum off right now, and we're gonna run out of RCS very quickly. So I'm kind of happy that we're pretty close here. So speed limit, I'm gonna set it to 20. For the time being, so that way we're fine, and we won't mess it up too much. Whew. And this is all doing it by itself. It's a little, it's a little tough to watch because I'm watching the mono propellant just tank. We should make it. We should be able to make it. And it's. I'm like at the edge of my seat. I'm like, come on. I'm sure this is what NASA's like, sitting in that stupid room that they have with the big screen. Everybody's just like, come on, you got this. You got this, autopilot. You got this. Quit wobbling. You're making this worse. Let's turn our lights on so you can kind of see where the docking thing will be. Thankfully, the sun is right on the refueling station, so it's allowing me to see where I'm going quite well. Sometimes it's hard to see and click on these docking ports because when I set it as a target, I set it from my ship, which is what you have to do. And the problem with that is it's really hard to click on something that small from that distance. So you gotta kind of see where it's at, which is why I usually put lights all over the heck of these stations. We're gonna make it, and we're not gonna run out of mono propellant, which is perfect. Let's close this. This may, you know, be a bit of a sexual education class, but it works. It works. Wow, there's the exact amount of mono propellant that we really needed. I'm glad I put 2 fuel tanks on there for that. Okay, quit wobbling. Quit wobbling. You got this. Oh, there it goes. Whew. It's magnetic, which is why it kind of does that. Wow, that was actually really intense. I'm a little, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to, how do I do this? I don't even remember. What is that? That's something with the fuel or something. I don't know. Okay. No, I need to, where? Oh, it's this right here. It's like, where's my control thing? I'm gonna control from here, which will help a little bit. I am going to then, oh gosh, what? I don't even remember what button it was. It's like a combination, whoa, a combination button. Okay, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Okay, I figured it out. So you hold Alt and you right click on them. So I'm gonna right click on this, right click on that, actually. I'll do it this way, that to that. So I want to transfer in. You'll see it just dumps the fuel tank into this. And I want to transfer the oxidizer in as well. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. That one's pretty much empty. So we're gonna do the same thing with this other fuel tank. We're gonna right click in on both of those. Cool. It's just gonna drain the heck out of that. And same thing here. Whoops. That one with this one. In. And I'm gonna suck all the fuel out of this station. It's basically what I need to do here. So with this one, whoops, right click and click. I'm gonna transfer in. And dump the rest of that one. Okay, now we have this one to deal with. In. Cool. Next. I wish you could do multiple ones at a time, not just between two. But whatever. I guess it works. Maybe there is a way and I just haven't figured it out. And this one. In. Wow, so we managed to refuel the heck out of this main engine. And we actually sucked. That gives you a good idea of how much fuel this whole thing had compared to what this thing has. So it's better to put these big ones on the actual refueling station. The last thing I'm going to do a little bit here is use this and transfer in. So I'm going to give myself some monopropellant. Just a little extra. I don't need a lot. I just need a little extra. That'll be fine. Okay. Perfect. Wow. We've done it, guys. We actually did it, which is a little disheartening. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get rid of these empty fuel tanks. That's going to be the primary thing. So we're going to decouple that. We're going to decouple that. So now we're just left with this kind of husk thing here. We're going to go back. Nope, don't want to revert flight. We want to go back to Space Center. That was close. And we want to get that debris away from there. So we'll go here. We'll go to the debris. The refueling. So we're going to look for refueling. We're going to terminate that. And we're going to terminate this. And then let's just close out of that. Oops, actually I needed to be in that. Dang it. One step at a time. I'm getting anxious. And what we need to do now is just fly that. So what's going to happen is we have this main structure already in space, which is cool. As you see, the fuel tanks are now gone from it. So now that this main structure is here, we can bring up other fuel tanks and attach them later on for other missions. And just kind of work with this for the time being until we come up with a more efficient system. But that is what we're going with now. We are actually going to decouple from this, and this will be our main ship, and it has quite a bit of fuel to get us to Duna and back. I think we're going to do it, guys. I think we're going to do it. This is really exciting. I'm super enjoying this, actually, strangely enough. It's kind of a close mission, and it's going to be even closer once we get there. I'm looking forward to it. But with that being said, we shall see you guys next time.